Here are 7 tips for lottery winners from none other than Dave Ramsey.
And he'll be receiving about $2 million.
I won about $800,000 on a game show.
I recently inherited a great sum of money, approximately $50 million.
And I won $1 million in the lottery.
Of $1.2 million.
Known for being conservative, you won't believe the actual advice that Dave gave our final millionaire about buying his dream car.
You can still go buy that car and not even think about it. Matter of fact, you could buy 2 of them and drive one of them off a cliff for fun. Whatever you want to do.
But first, a 23-year-old janitor who won $400,000 in Vegas playing poker in a single night. When you hear this first mind-blowing story, you won't be surprised this guy called to ask Dave Ramsey for some advice.
Yeah, I'm a high school janitor, and I make $26,000 a year.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
And you made $400,000 at the poker table?
Yes, that day, yes.
Wow. What a story.
Yeah.
What a story.
There's no doubt he can use some help. So what did Dave Ramsey tell him to do? Buy a Ferrari? Just kidding. He told him to take baby steps. Now, as usual, he told the young janitor to pay off his debt first, then set aside an emergency fund to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. After that, he kind of left it up to whatever the young man wanted.
No, I currently rent an apartment.
Okay, if you want to buy a property, this would be the stage at which you buy a property, and we would tell you to pay cash for it if at this stage of your life you're ready to buy a property.
Or, he said, invest 15%, but very conservatively. But that's not what he told the next guy, who instantly made $2 million. Imagine this is you.
Springfield, Illinois, 19 years old. His grandfather just passed away. The family farm is going to be sold, and he'll be receiving about $2 million.
What do you do with all that cash? Well, according to Dave Ramsey, sometimes it's more about what you don't do.
Number 1, never invest or do anything with money the rest of your life in anything you do not understand.
Sound scary? Don't worry. He's got advice on how to avoid making a mistake.
And so I would recommend that you build a personal board of directors, a financial advisor, a tax advisor, a real estate person, an attorney, a CPA.
But can it really be that easy?
I would purchase almost nothing.
Well, I guess sometimes you need to make sacrifices. And you can feel the emotion in the next entry's voice when he talks about what true sacrifice really is.
My parents, I'm really emotional about this. I apologize.
That's okay.
This next clip was advice given to a man who wanted to help his lottery winner parents.
They've struggled with money. They've always been there for us. They're wonderful people. So they've struggled with money.
Heavily in debt after years of hard work and sacrifice caring for their family, heading into retirement, and now they just won the lottery. What do? But it wasn't enough. Something else was wrong. And it's almost always the same reason behind every failed lottery winner story. According to Dave Ramsey, if they wanted to keep their money or ever hope to retire, they need to change their mentality.
But let me tell you what happens with people that don't have any money, that are broken in debt, and they win $340,000. Their brain tells them it's $34 million.
What he means is your mentality is important. Treat the money like it's more than it is, and you're going to end up even more in debt. But realize it's not as much as it sounds, and you'll be just fine.
I don't want to sound snobbish, but it's not that much money because they can screw this up real easy.
But it's not all bad news. Sometimes playing with your family can really pay off.
I would hold out $3,000 or $4,000 to blow and enjoy.
The next advice was given to a caller with a pretty amazing story.
I won about $800,000 on a game show.
She was playing with her grandma, and they won $800,000 each. But she didn't know if the house of her dreams was too extravagant or just right, at a price of $320,000. So what did Dave Ramsey say?
Nope. Write a check and pay cash for it. Have you got any other debt?
That's a pretty clear answer to that question. Thanks, Dave. But the next question's not so easy to answer. and honestly, can really mess you up if you don't answer it correctly. The next piece of advice was given to someone with some pretty exciting news.
My husband and I have just been blessed with a lottery winning of $1.2 million.
What she wanted to know is, should they take the annuity option or the lump sum? Well, what do you think, Dave?
It's not an easy decision, is it?
Actually, it is. It's a really
Okay.
it's a really easy decision. You will make almost twice as much if you take the lump sum and invest it.
Most experts disagree. They always advise people to go for the annuity option. But then again, all her debts were paid off, and she already had several investments. And it turns out that might be important.
The trick is, the only reason I would tell you to do that is because everything else in your life indicates you'll leave it alone.
Maybe not all of us would receive the same advice. It might be worth learning how to make smart investments. Like our next entry, who may have made the smartest investment of all. Picture this.
I recently inherited a great sum of money, approximately $50 million.
$50 million is more than most people will ever have. And that makes it a pretty terrifying responsibility. Obviously, the caller wanted to know what he should do with all that cash, so they don't blow it and end up broke like so many before them. I'm all ears, Dave.
Is to balance and use ratios between living some of it, enjoying some of it, in other words, giving some of it, and investing some of it.
Dave Ramsey suggests setting percentage ratios for large sums of money to help people avoid making a terrible mistake with their spending. But it's not all about charity and investments.
The spending portion is going to be, doesn't take much here for it to be a lot of fun.
He's right about that. Only 1% of 50 million is 500,000. That's a ton of fun for one person. But a seriously responsible percentage. Exactly what financial advisors dream of. Speaking of dreams, our last guy really started living a dream life. This final piece of advice went to someone who's just achieved almost anyone's dream.
Earlier this year, I got really lucky and I won $1 million in the lottery.
That lucky man immediately paid off his mortgage and all his debt. That's already a dream come true, but he didn't know what to do next. He sure didn't want to end up broke. Luckily, Dave Ramsey knew exactly what he needed to do.
Doing what you're trained to do. That's wonderful. Keep doing that. Keep earning the money. And there's three things we do with money. One, we enjoy it, and you need to do some of that. Probably need to get that shotgun if you didn't already. And number two, you are outrageously generous, which you will find once you learn how to do that with care and intentionality will become the most fun you ever have with money. And then the third thing is we invest it.
So that's give, have fun, and invest. The three pillars of being a rich person. But if you're using every cent to pay for essentials, this sounds like a pretty weird system. Why does he think it's important to divide money up in that way?
But that, what it does, it sets you free from all the weirdness that many zeros does to your brain, and you can just say, I'm going to enjoy this, I'm going to give this, I'm going to invest that.
In other words, it removes the stress of having to make decisions and make sure you don't blow it all and end up broke. I can't help but think that would be useful even to people who haven't won the lottery yet. Certainly, most, if not all, of Dave Ramsey's advice is conservative and conventional. Mark Cuban disagrees with some of them and has something to say himself. Let's call Cuban's approach a more exciting one. In this next video, billionaire and Shark Tank star Mark Cuban shares his own piece of advice for lottery winners, so you can make the most out of your money as soon as you win. Watch it now